There's nothing scarier in the world than playing a melee build in Path of Exile. Whenever you see someone roll a melee build, you can't help but feel a little bit of sympathy for them since they probably ate too much glue back in grade school and ended up failing their eye exam. Needless to say, I recently decided to roll a melee build, and for the record, my favorite flavor is a purple one. So as you can see, this is my Hollow Palm Cyclone build. Not only does it open your mouth and cheeks to be double-fisted from both sides, but it also invites a myriad of problems including higher death rates, lower farming efficiency, and increased risk of STDs. Now as you can guess, I also decided to play this build on a Raider instead of the more popular Slayer, because I really couldn't be bothered to level yet another duelist. There's nothing that strikes fear into my boners quite like playing a glass cannon in melee range. And of course, to appease my smooth reptilian brain, Hollow Palm technique requires that both glove and weapon slots are empty, thereby allowing me to spare even less effort in putting together this build. Something that a lot of people might find off-putting about this build is that it uses arguably one of the most boring skills in the game, and that is Cyclone. Now what they fail to take into consideration is my aptitude to make builds that are guaranteed to give you clinical depression and chronic mental illness. Not that this is something that any of you guys need to worry about, since the average PoE player probably suffers from severe mental disorders induced by their extreme gambling addiction. But since I have neither the patience nor the basic reading skills needed to operate path building, I decided to put together a build that is reflective of my small caveman brain. Now to start off this build, you're gonna need a replica perfect form. You're more than welcome to do the mental gymnastics to understand all the unnecessary stats, but the main gist of it is that it gives you Hollow Palm technique. The best part of this particular synergy is that it is a unique item that removes the need to craft your own body armor as well as your own gloves or weapons. As far as low IQ garbage builds go, this is what I like to call a good fucking deal. Now for the next unique item in the build, we'll be rolling with Garokon's Flight. As we all know, the most cancerous mechanics in the game always have something to do with nondescript ground effects. So the reason we want to be using Garokon's Flight is to allow us to regenerate life while moving, since that will hopefully counteract the 1 million DPS damage over time effects that you cannot see. For those of you that might be wondering if we want these boots for the burning ground immunity, I'm here to tell you, no bitch. Ever heard of Vortex or Caustic Ground? Now if we take a look at my rings and amulets, you'll be able to see clearly that I've checked the fuck out. We have a synthesized amulet for % increased armor and Lahoop Evolved, because why the fuck not? Now the hardest part of this build was actually crafting the helmets and belt, and boy were these a cock in the ass. To make the belt, I had to use a grand total of 3 deafening essences of sorrow, and the helmet took me about 5 chaos orbs to make. Personally, I already feel that I've overexerted my mental capacity just crafting this gear, so my next build will probably have to require even fewer brain cells. Now my favorite part about this build is the sheer speed you're able to travel at. Because you are so fast and so squishy, you're never able to actually stop at any point to pick up any loot. By choosing to play this build, you've effectively decided to enter the infinite gameplay loop of never being able to stop playing, because if you do, you'll be inflicted with a severe ailment otherwise known as death. The effects of death is that it kills you. Now taking a look at our weapon, we have the Dancing Dervish. Outside of Subtractum telling me it was a good idea to use this sword, I really don't know what it's for. But it seems to be working. Now if you're wondering if Hollow Palm Raider is the build for you, let me tell you right now that it is not. There's nothing that gets my panties wet faster than playing builds that don't work, and all it really takes to make a build that's better than mine is just an extra ounce of effort. That's all I really wanted to talk about today. So yeah,